What is going on, guys? It's Stribbers and welcome to episode 26 of PGR2 Road to Platinum. So, in this episode we'll be finishing off the Supercar series, and then we'll be unlocking a new series and doing the first race we do unlocking that. So we've got 3 street races to do in this episode, and we used the Corvette Z06 in the last episode. And I decided to give the Viper GTS a go. Not my favourite car to drive, but I will use it for this race we're about to do. So picking it in yellow with black stripes, quite a cool look for this car. So we've got a race in Sydney, 2 laps to do, 8 cars, and the car that's going to give us trouble in this one is also a Dodge Viper, because the AI do seem to drive these well. So the best thing to do on this first corner is just go around the outside to avoid getting spun out, even though we did nearly get spun out with that part. But then that TVR decides to just give up on life and completely go to the left of that corner, ignoring everything. But on the straight, the Viper will show its strengths, even though it did just give the Ferrari a little bit of a speed boost, which means we can't really catch that up very easily. Hitting it up the rear end again on that corner. But I don't think we're doing too bad to get to third at this point in the race, so that's quite nice. Giving him a little bit of space there, and then going on the inside of him to take the overtake around this corner. Did just clip our inside, nearly spinning us out. But halfway through the first lap, or maybe just a little over, we're in second place, so we can concentrate on catching this Dodge Viper up. And yeah, this car compared to the Z06 and the TVR, and especially the Porsche, it just does not handle well at all. It suffers massively from understeer, and yeah, it feels very heavy and like a boat to drive compared to the other cars. Not saying it's a bad car, but it's just not the easiest one to live with on a track, especially one with some crazy corners on. See, as he just crashes straight into the barrier there, and then goes on 2 wheels and does the same thing again. So that's 2 collisions in a row for that Dodge, which allows us to just easily cruise on by into first place. And yeah, you need to just brake earlier than you normally would in other cars, and yeah, you just got to live with this beast. So we come around this hairpin corner now. Right behind us again though, has caught us up over these corners, and then I was looking behind then, so I went a bit wide on that corner, not concentrating on what I was doing in front of me. But luckily this race is only 2 laps, so we've got a short amount of time to defend the lead. Coming around the second to last corner, still just about ahead of him. He's right on our bumper though, and he decides to go for an overtake but hits the wall. Luckily for us, I managed to slow him down a lot, and that did this corner a lot better on this lap. That was how you meant to take it. I remember on the first corner I took that far too wide, but the Dodge helped us out a lot there by crashing multiple times, leaving us across the line in first place. Another platinum medal down, fastest lap as well, that's always nice. So yeah, the Dodge 3 seconds behind in the end, and 6,600 kudos for us in the bank there. Moving on to the second street race in Sydney again, and 2 laps again. I will be using the Z06 for this one. Could use the Dodge again, but I was just going to use a different car for each race in this one, just to spruce things up a little bit, make it a bit more interesting. So Sydney again, 8 cars again. TVR starting at the back there, a couple of Corvettes in front of that. And I can't quite see ahead. I think there's a Porsche that's red and another Dodge. So I managed to brake early, cut on the inside of all this mess on the first few corners, even get around that Porsche, and then that Dodge brakes behind the other Dodge, so we've got 2 Dodges there, so that allows us to go on the outside. I do leave him some room, but then he full on does a takedown against the wall, so that leaves me pinned against there, losing lots of speed. But making our way straight back up behind the Dodges again. And you will see the Dodges in a straight line do have the advantage over the Corvette. But going from the Dodge to the Corvette, you do realise how much more nimble this car is. A lot easier to take corners with. Has actually hit the barrier on the left hand side there, but that actually aids us a little bit by throwing us towards the right so we can overtake the Dodge on the right hand side. And that corner there has a little bit of slowdown in the game, which does happen on both laps, which is a little bit annoying. But we are in second place behind this Dodge, able to draft him, taking advantage of that. But as soon as we come out of the draft, you see we stop gaining on him. Coming over to this corner, we're just able to outbrake him, take him on the inside. So the straights are not where you're going to overtake the Dodge Viper. It's going to be around the corners with your better handling cars. If you're using the Corvette or the TVR, that is what's going to happen. So the Dodges are fighting for second and third on the straight as we come across for lap 2 in the lead, 1.7 seconds ahead. So we've just got to maintain this lead now, doing this corner nicely again. A couple corners on the left, a couple left-hand corners there. Can take them quite nicely. Coming around this corner here, no Dodge pinning us to the wall this time. Coming around this swooping right-hand corner, nearly a hairpin. It's very hard to get that one right actually, without hitting the wall. But it looks like the Viper behind has got rid of the other Viper. I think it's the red one now that's in second place. 2.5 seconds ahead now, so we are increasing this lead. And in the more technical parts of the track, you are going to pull away with the better handling cars, obviously. And it's not like the Corvette is, you know, a million miles away from the Dodge's acceleration. But cut in too early for that corner. So we hit the wall, slowed down quite a lot there. But still got a bit of a lead on this Dodge. But he is on the straight, catching us up, 1.4 seconds now. So hitting the wall did not help us out whatsoever. Taking that a little bit too wide there, braking a little bit late. Again at night it's a little bit hard to see where the braking zones are. Back onto the final straight, and he's not going to catch us now. Quite comfortable. Across the line. Another win in the bag. 2,000 kudos, in-game kudos for that. Lovely stuff. And yeah, the second Dodge Viper actually got overtaken by the TVR there, so he must have crashed or something. But 7,000 kudos for that event. And now we come to the last street race of this series. And you are going to struggle with this if you do not have the Delfino unlocked, as I did find out. So I fully recommend using the TVR Tuscan if you do not have the Delfino, just to give you a fighting chance, because the Delfino in first place is an absolute rocket ship compared to these cars, and you'll see an example of that in this race. So we start off on the straight, overtake a couple cars, and dive to the inside of this corner, a little bit of slow down there. And we actually got into second place. And I do recommend that if you're not in second place by this corner or the next corner, I do recommend restarting the race, just because this Delfino is very, very difficult to catch up. Even in the corners you can catch him up, but as soon as he gets into any sort of straight it just absolutely flies. And you will see that in this race. So we're already 2.3 seconds behind him, even though we managed to get round every other car in the first corner, pretty much. So the Delfino's handling isn't brilliant, neither is its brakes. It does suffer from understeer a lot, and the brakes are pretty crap as well. But any sort of straight, its acceleration is just mental compared to the rest of the pack. So we are making a little bit of ground on him. Nothing too monumental though, 1.6 seconds behind. Get another bit of slowdown around that corner. Taking this corner wide, preparing for the hairpin, which you can make a little bit of time on him here. Actually we do quite well on that corner, so we are pretty much behind him. This corner is very difficult, and he helped us out massively there by doing that strange thing they do where they twitch to the right or left, depending on which corner you're going on, and just completely out of the way. But we're on the straight, coming into the second lap, and you'll see this acceleration start to catch up any second. Full on rocket ship mode there in 5th or 4th gear, and he does hit us up the rear end, which does make me go way too far. Overshooting the corner, hitting the barrier, letting him overtake us again. But as soon as this thing hits 4th gear or 5th gear, it just absolutely goes. As you'll see here, no chance, it is pulling away, and we do manage to get an alright corner line, but then we do hit the wall. But I've got my own back on him in a way, because he did rear end me, so even though he has pulled away again, so it didn't really help us out that much. But I do manage to squeeze past him on that corner just about. Going into the tight technical part of this track again. Just about keeping ahead of him, having to defend this lead now, try and block him at every moment if possible. Trying to go as flat out as I can through that bit, and then leaving that wide on that section to cut onto the inside of that corner, using the width on the way out. 0.7 a second behind as we go around this corner with a bit of lag again. And then taking that corner as wide as you need to. You can cut on the inside a little bit there if you want to get a better line for this corner. But this is the corner we do gain ground on usually, so hopefully we've just got the legs on him. And we're doing this corner very nicely. Throwing the back end in a little bit just to get a better angle coming out to then whip around this corner. So we have got a just about big enough lead to win this race. But he was catching quite quickly towards the end there. But yeah, that is incredibly difficult, that race. So if you do have the Delfino, I'd definitely advise using that. We did get a little bit lucky on one of the corners that he let us through, as he did twitch off to the right. But nevertheless, that is done. Supercar Series over, and we have unlocked the Grand Touring Series. So this is our 4th to last series we've got to do. There are plenty of races in all of the remaining series to do, but there's a lot of series that we have completed on Platinum, so it's looking good at the moment. So we've got one event to do, a small timed run, a couple laps. So let's have a look at the cars that are in this series. So the couple cars to start the series off, or the ones you start with, are the Lotus Esprit, which is not a brilliant car in this class. It's got pretty good acceleration, as you can see, but it does. It's not as good as the other cars. You will fall behind driving this car. Pretty good handling, not too bad. And the other one is the Aston Martin Vanquish, which is the slowest car in the class. No power sliding, very good handling, but just not quick enough. So the Lotus and the Aston Martin are just not competitive at all, so you can't really use them for Platinum, unfortunately, because I do like driving the Lotus. And we've got the Ferrari 57M Maranello. This is probably the best car in the class. Overall, very good acceleration, very good top speed, very good handling. So that is your go-to car for this class. The Ferrari Testarossa, or Testarossa, however you pronounce it. Okay car, not too bad. A little bit more competitive with his acceleration, but quite a lot of power sliding, not brilliant handling. And then we've got the Bentley Continental GT, which isn't very good at all, really. It's just got very poor handling. Acceleration's not quite up with the others, and it just power slides quite a bit as well, so that's not a very good car to use. We've got the 575 we discussed. We've got the Mercedes-Benz SL55 AMG, and we've also got the 550 Barchetta as well. Both very decent cars. The 550 Barchetta is very similar to the 575. Maybe slightly slower in acceleration, and this one understeers more than the other, the 575. And then the Mercedes SL55 is a touch off for Ferraris with acceleration, but very, very good at handling. It's the best handling one in the class. Very, very planted. Very good for small, tight circuits. But it just doesn't have the acceleration to match the Ferraris, the two quicker Ferraris anyway. So the 575 is the best in this class, then the 550, and then the SL55. in that order, but we are going to use the SL55 to start the episode, or to start this series off with, should I say, just because it's on this this tight timed run circuit, and yeah, it's quite a good car to use in this one, just because it's got such good handling. And you can use either Ferrari as well for this one, but this one's handling, the Mercedes handling does come handy through the corners here, all right hand corners. But it's a very short event, so you shouldn't have too many problems with this. 24.5 for the first lap. So if we repeat that for the second lap, we should be golden. Coming around the second to last corner. As I said, this car is pretty nice to drive. Very planted. Just hasn't quite got the acceleration to make it the best in the class, unfortunately. And just about completing that, slightly slower on the second lap. Get the clean race, which is always nice. And we passed by 0.4 of a second, so on a track that size, I'd say that's fairly comfortable. Not too bad at all. So that's going to be the end of this episode, guys. So in the next episode, we've got an overtake, a street race, a one-on-one, and a cone challenge. And we can see the remaining events for this series to do. And I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you next time.